song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 887. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway here at the last place on earth, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Today, part 2 of my intimate interview with the Seattle, Washington band Exohxo with JASEN, SAMFORD, and Danny Olson. Plus, we hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer, and what?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That's right, that's what the name of this show is. Hopefully it'll last.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And then I wanted to sing this song, so I tagged Art Bell on my Facebook post of the last show because as this podcast's host, I thought it would be fun in my interview to toast the legendary talk radio guy who liked to talk about ghosts and aliens and conspiracies and such.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Well, I tagged the wrong Art, but he got in touch
Mike's
with me.
Daily.
And this other Art says
Podcast.
He's a musician and producer.
Yeah.
So on this show he will be. Maybe. So I record this show on my computer. And recently I have downloaded... Oh, look who just walked in. This person. Hello, my guys. It's Chely Shoehart, job supervisor. Oh my God, what was it you were going to say? I was going to say, recently I downloaded Chrome. And I kind of like Chrome because it's very streamlined. I can get a lot of things done. And I like the feature because I have my microphone hooked up to the computer anyway because I do my podcast and I also record a couple internet radio shows. And oh, look, I just walked in. Hello, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman.
And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, we didn't mean to interrupt you and your story. It sounds really technical, and that makes me hot.
I thought I made you hot.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you guys work that out. Anyway, I don't want to get in between you two. Really, I don't. So here's the thing: is I record. So I found on Google they had that thing, that OK Google thing, where you can ask it questions and get information. I would, if I were good at this, I could. Oh, I don't have it up right now. I'm using Firefox. So much I've just shot myself in the foot. Owie. Mike Matthews, that wasn't a gun, that was a cannon. Why did you have that in your pocket? Well, I was happy to see you. Mike Matthews, I am in love with the Brewmaster. He's so wonderful. Oh, that's so nice. I'm so glad you two are still together. You seem like the mismatched pair. What do you mean, Mike Matthews? You don't think he's good enough for me? Yeah. Uh-huh. Because it's never the other way around, is it? Whenever anybody asks you that question, exactly. It's never the other way around. Okay, whatever, Mike Matthews. Go back to your story. Yeah, so whenever I say, okay, Google, and it looks up and I say, tell me how to make a glass of water. It then, gives me the information. This isn't a commercial for Google. In fact, I'm about to get really upset with Google. Yeah, I know. You all are upset with Google, aren't you? They do awful things like tell us where stuff is and look up stuff for us. But yeah. Oh, and the driverless cars that we talked about the other day. Hey, what I'm trying to say is whenever I ask it a question, it messes up the levels in my computer so that I don't ever know when I start recording this show what I'm going to get. Like, the levels is basically for those of you who don't do any recording on your computer. So, like, if I'm trying to record my show and the levels are all off, it can sound anywhere like, hey, everybody, it's Mike Matthews, to overmodulated is what we like to say. So, and that's a real sticking point for me because when I first got into radio, I was working in the early 90s at this station nobody listened to in Thousand Oaks called KNJO. We were running everything off of tape. There was the only thing digital around then was the CDs, and we never played any CDs. Everything was on tape. If we wanted to play a song, we'd have to record the song from CD to tape and then play it back. It was so dumb. But this guy there named Doug Eldred. Ugh. Gosh, that guy. You remember I was talking about big egos the other day on this show? This guy, his ego, so big he had to change his name on the radio. Well, you know what? He might still be in Thousand Oaks. He'll never leave Thousand Oaks. He's stuck. But he used to just torment me relentlessly, and he would bug me about my levels, and he would say, "Oh, your levels are always off, man." In fact, so much so that when I got a job, I found a better job in radio. I was working at a station called Kehe, had a huge listenership. Totally went up the ladder when I got that job, and then created all the characters that you hear on the show now. Because I was doing that show for like 11 years with those characters on the Santa Fe Cafe. He called up and left a message on my voicemail at work saying, "Man, your levels suck." He was still holding on to that. So there you go. For all of you who now know that when we say levels, we mean volume. The volume of things, which is a big thing here in the world of radio. And yes, you may have noticed that this podcast is louder than all the other podcasts. I do that on purpose because I want you to hear it. Because I don't want you to have to play with the volume knob and have to turn it up and go, "What's he saying?" Because this is all really great stuff. All right, I'll turn the volume down. It's too loud? Okay. How about now? Is that better? What? What's he saying? Mike, I can't hear you! Oh my God, your volume's always big, Floyd. Thanks!
Yes, Mike, he does talk rather loudly. That's why I love him.
Aw, once again, another touching moment here. So, what do you think of the levels of this show? What do you think about me and Art Bell? Oh, and the guy that I talked to who is a musician named Art Bell. I accidentally tagged him because I looked up Art Bell, and I guess Josie Milner, who I interviewed on this show once, a country singer, she is friends with him. So maybe we'll get Art Bell on the show, but not the talk show conspiracy theorist Art Bell. But we are going to talk about him a little bit more in my interview with Exohxo, which is coming up. So you can tell me what you think about all those things and levels and whatnot at email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. That's where you can email me, and we read your comments in the section emails for meal, wheels on wheels. That's where you want to email Wheels on Meals with all of your answers to those questions I was giving you previously. Emails from email is the name of the segment that we do. Emails from email and your and not so comments, because you can also comment on the show at Mike Talks. That's where we are on Twitter. On Facebook, we're at facebook.com/Mike's Daily Podcast. And you can find us on Instagram at Mike's Daily Podcast is our handle there, mikesdailypodcast.com. Wait, what am I saying? I'm all confused in all the social media is what I am. I'm lost in social media land. Anyway, links to where to find us on Instagram, Yelp, and Tumblr can be found at mikesdailypodcast.com is what I'm trying to say. Also, where you can find us on iTunes. You can rate and comment on the show in iTunes. And if you do that, more people find out about us and we don't languish in obscurity. You can also find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podomatic, Mixcloud, Spreaker, Player FM, and Ameristream Live. And yes, I am doing the morning show on a Connecticut radio station that plays a huge variety of music. Great upbeat music of all types, of all eras. It's called Wolverine Radio. A link to that, as well as a link to the country station that I'm on weekends, all there at mikesdailypodcast.com. And if you want to support the show, all you got to do is buy something on Amazon, because you were going to do that anyway. That book of recipes from Rachel Ray. Holy crap, that girl's gotten big. Man, I'm not one to judge. I mean, you look at pictures of me from 20 years ago, and yeah, I've definitely ballooned. I've gotten the Irish fat face. But, oh, she's gotten the Italian biggins herself. Still beautiful. Still love her smile. Her recipes are wonderful, but maybe she followed a little too many of Paula Deen's recipes. I don't know. But dang, Rachel Ray. Anyway, I got 2 of her cookbooks, and I've sometimes used them, and Rachel, I love you. All right, that's not really true. Anyway, if you're going to buy her recipe book or whatever, go to Amazon through mikesdailypodcast.com. You'll see that Amazon link on the left-hand side. Click on that and buy whatever it is you're going to buy, and that helps us out. You can also find the blog, The Daily Podcast Picture, and all my past interviews at mikesdailypodcast.com. And speaking of interviews...
Into an interview.
Okay, all right.
I'm speaking with Exohxo, spelled EXOHXO. And it's Jason SAMFORD and Danny Olson.
Indeed.
Weren't you in Superman? No, that's Jimmy Olsen. Damn it, sorry.
That's true. That's true.
Now, what got you guys, Danny and Jason, into making music? And were you making music together when you were like kids?
We weren't making music together as kids, but there's some pretty good stories. He was a fanboy. I was a fanboy. In high school, I played in a sort of proggy math rock kind of band, as did Danny. Mm-hmm. Danny's band was called Vermilion, and I was a really big fan of theirs and would like book shows together when I could. And it was super exciting if I could get Vermilion to play, and if I could talk to them at the shows. It was like a big deal. And I ran into one of them at a show once, and he was just like a total jerk to me, but ended up being like one of my best friends and the singer I was mentioning earlier from Speaker Speaker. So we've known each other at least loosely for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then I don't even remember what year Speaker started, 2002 or 3.
Yeah.
So Colin and Danny had been playing with another drummer and asked me to join on and play drums. And so Danny and I have been playing together for over a decade now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's wow.
Does that make you like stop for a moment and go, where's the time gone?
It does, absolutely.
Where did it go? Did Art Bell take the time? Did Art Bell steal time?
Where did the time go? Literally, Art Bell. Did aliens take time? So I love this Art Bell theme. This is great. But to answer like why we start, I don't know why. I mean, when I was very little, I was very excited about music. I don't know what it was that drew me to it initially. But I started on violin when I was very young, and I even studied violin all the way into college. But it was sometime in my teens when I sort of realized that I wasn't necessarily going to be like a concert violinist or playing in an orchestra as my career. And so I was into rock music when I was a teenager, and I really wanted to bring elements of playing violin and the other instruments I played into a sort of a rock environment. And Exohxo was really actually my first opportunity to really do that. I kept trying to do it with Speaker Speaker. I'd say, hey, we should have horns here. They're like, no, Danny, we should not have horns here.
We're a punk band.
And then Exohxo, again, that was kind of referring back to when I was talking about how I wanted things to be really big, and it sort of ended up being a little bit ill-advised. It was that vision that I wanted. And I think having Hiromi playing violin, and I get to play with her sometimes, like I've been starting to play violin live, doing violin duets with her. And this is kind of what got me playing music, like integrating some of my own personal musical background into a sort of rock environment. It's been great. So
you guys have created the band that you always wanted.
Yeah,
I think that's true.
That's very true.
You get to show off all your talents in it.
That's true. I can juggle. So I juggle on. No, I don't.
Juggling makes a great noise on an album.
That's true.
Danny has juggling solos.
Can I get a little bit more treble
every
in
song.
juggling?
I got a fever. It definitely need more juggling. Or cowbell. I don't know. So
I just do it as a studio musician these days, the juggling. Don't really do it with the band so much.
Just a session juggler.
Was there juggling in the making of this album, The Ghost is Clear? And tell me about the making of it.
There was very little juggling, mostly unintentional. The making of it, Danny and I know a guy whose name is Jackson Justice Long.
Get out of here.
It's true.
Real.
Yep.
His middle name is Justice.
Yep.
And his name is Long.
It's long. Jackson Justice long.
But it is long as well.
Yeah. If you go to his website or the website of the studio that he runs called Hear Me Shimmer, his like tagline is like, my middle name is Justice. It's like it's a real thing.
Which for a guy who loves Batman so much, it's perfect.
I'm wearing a Batman shirt right now.
He loves justice.
I do. Justice. I like to say it like that. Justice. So Danny and I know Jackson from again Speaker playing with his old band Racetrack. He has a studio in Seattle that he uses mostly as like an overdub studio. And we talked to him about recording, and he suggested that we do basic tracking at Soundhouse, which is a pretty amazing studio in Seattle. So we finished off basic tracking in a couple days there, and then did like vocals and violins at his studio and one other studio in Seattle, kind of on free weeknights and weekends over the course of a couple months. Mm-hmm. It's one thing that's kind of more difficult to be in a recording band when you've got like a mortgage and a job and a family and all that stuff. You can't just like skip out on your rent and throw money towards recording
or
anymore.
Just ditch on your job to go record for a month somewhere. So we kind of had to grab time where we could. We really made sure to set aside like, was it 2 full days for basic tracking? We've been doing this for a long time, so we kind of felt pretty confident that we could go in there and do the basic tracking in just a day or two, and book some like kind of after work sessions or weekend sessions and bang out the rest of the overdubs and the vocals. And honestly, the story of recording is probably fairly boring because we're kind of good at it. So like we just kind of bang through it, and
And there's so many parts you guys have in your music. There's so much. It's so thick of lush, rich, a lot of things. A full cast.
That came through. That's great.
Yeah, a lot of instruments. Mm-hmm. That does not sound easy to do, to record all that.
I think that's another thing that kind of the benefit of age is, I think we've probably made enough mistakes trying to do that kind of thing on even a smaller scale before, and having learned from that, kind of we did our homework, did the pre-production stuff, so we were ready to go in and just sort of
everybody in our band is really, really good at their instruments and very professional. Bob, whenever you go into a recording session, drums can really be the make or break of a session, right? Like you go in there, sometimes the miking can take forever, the drums are out of tune and everybody's obsessing over that. It's not something that's as easy to punch as other instruments where it's like, oh, I missed that note, just go back and hit that punch. Well, drums with all the ambient sounds that are going on, it's really hard to do that. So a drummer can really, in a lot of ways, be the one who ruins a session. And Bob is just so incredibly professional. He just busted out everything really quickly. Bill is just an absolute professional and banged out the keyboards. It was amazing. Hiromi, in just like a day, did all of her violin parts. And in many cases, as you said, it's very lush. So she's layering violin parts and harmonizing with herself, which can be very tricky. And she just, it was great.
Well, I was going to play Up to Me, and the drums are fantastic in this, and I love the harmonies, and the bass line is awesome.
Thank you.
And it just jumps at you right away, and it's also very happy and dancey. It makes you want to dance.
Good. You should dance while you're playing it.
Do it.
I'm dancing right now, guys. Just
we'll dance too.
When you're talking to me, I'm dancing.
We're very lyrical in the way we talk.
It's like I just danced to that. It was great. I did the 80s white man overbite to that dance.
Nice. I can see it in my head. I can see Art Bell right now.
Oh, God. I hope I'm better looking than Art Bell.
Would that we all were.
But yet I'm not. I wish I had his money, too. Because he's a rich guy. He made a lot of money doing his thing. But you know what, you guys? Tell me about Up to Me. How did this song come about? It's great, too.
Thanks. A lot of my songwriting comes from listening to my favorite artists and thinking, how can I rip this off without being too obvious that I'm ripping something off?
Right.
And so when I wrote Up to Me, I'd been going through a big Springsteen phase.
Ah.
And so Up to Me has that kind of Springsteen flavor of like, we're in this town, it's not really the best place, and would that I could break out and go out on my own. So it's that mixed in with some sort of love story kind of stuff. And I don't know, one of the lyrics is actually kind of about my songwriting and ripping stuff off and hoping that it's like nice homage more so than blatant ripoff. That's mostly Up to Me in a nutshell.
From the album The Ghost is Clear, which you can find at all kinds of places, and I think they can go to exohxo.com, EXOHXO.com for more info. But yeah, like you said, you're on SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Spotify, Pandora.
Yep.
Awesome.
All the familiar places.
So it's Up to Me, Exohxo on Mike's Daily Podcast.
So you wrote it down and found out nothing seemed to look just right. Straightest lines and bright white lights behind your eyes, they find each other here at night. Yourself in all the old familiar places. Is this blowing kisses to the wind, or is it simply spitting in familiar faces? If it were up to me, we wouldn't spend another minute inside this place, and we would go and see all the night has left to show, and it would set us free, cutting loose, cutting our teeth on the unknown. Boxes of old letters that you never did intend to send them under your bed. With the laces of those old lectures
gosh. Are you feeling the love for Exohxo like I am? That is Up to Me, a song from their album, The Ghost is Clear. As we go outside of Cafe Anyway, here at the last place on earth located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast. Hey, I'm going to bring you part 3 of our 4-part interview on the next show.
And here's today's podcast picture.
So you can see a picture of the current members of Exohxo right now at mikesdailypodcast.com. Check them out. They're all good-looking people. Fine specimens. And a great band. That was kind of creepy how I said specimens, wasn't it? Sort of like I want to collect them, put them in little jars or something. It's really, really strange. Very odd. But I would do that because they are succulent little young lambs. Or however that goes from Austin Powers. By the way, my dog Basil is named after the character from Austin Powers. What? You didn't realize that, Basil? That's true. Okay, yeah, so see that picture, Mike'sDailyPodcast.com.
Mike Matthews, I think Rachel Ray is, like, beautiful.
She's beautiful, yes, but, you know, and age does that. You kind of, you don't lose the weight anymore, and you kind of pack it on, and it's tough. It's tougher and tougher to lose the weight. You know, her husband was in a band called The Cringe. I remember. They had a couple good songs.
Oh, that's really interesting.
You're saying that facetiously.
That's right. I'm saying it ironically.
No, that's not ironic when you're saying one thing and meaning another. Ironic would be if you were saying that you liked that band, and as you were saying it, you were accepting an award for best band, and then a piano was falling on top of you.
Mike Matthews, that would be like tragic, not ironic.
Maybe. But next show, we're going to have Floyd the Floorman say something really loud. What? No, we're not going to do that next show because he did it this show. Oh, dang it!
That's all right, Mike. I'm going to have him say a bunch of things really loud.
I don't want to know the context of what you're talking about right now.
That's okay. Enjoy the birds out here.
The birds are so lovely, aren't they? They're so sweet. They take me away. Calgon takes me away too. In chains. Next show, it will be part 3 of my Into an Interview with the wonderful band Exohxo and the wonderful guys Jason Samford and Danny Olson from Seattle, Washington. Our 4-part interview series continues. Plus, we hear from Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!